T-minus 10, 9, 8. We have a go for main engine start. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And it was about the size of a standard automobile interior. A Volkswagen. Zeiss. We had estimated the chance of successfully landing without having to abort and not make the landing at about 60%. And 6 out of 7 missions is pretty close to that. But also, we really believed that we had about a 95% chance of returning home safely. And combat sometimes is more, sometimes is a little less. And we accept those odds. But they certainly were more than acceptable to us at the time. And those odds were with us. And we successfully landed on the moon. It truly was one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind. Now, Neil was already on the surface, and he was taking a few photographs of me as I backed down the ladder after partially closing the hatch. I didn't hear too many people laugh when they heard this, being careful not to lock it on my way out. Now, as I stepped on the talcum like lunar dust, the first words that came to my mind were magnificent desolation. It was magnificent accomplishment for humans to set foot on another world for the first time. And yet there was the total desolation of what we looked out on. No atmosphere, no air, nothing growing anywhere, just gray. I don't know how many shades of gray, whether it was 50 shades. But you can see the horizon kind of going away. It was so clear. And back on Earth, everyone felt like they had participated in this incredible journey. The world welcomed us back as heroes from the moon, but we understood that they were not cheering just for 3 guys, but for what we represented. That by the world coming together, we had accomplished the impossible. The true value of Apollo is the amazing story of innovation and teamwork that overcame many obstacles to reach the moon. And I feel very privileged to have played a part in this historical event. So today, at the age of 87, It's really better than ever, and I feel like things are really coming together. I consider myself a global space statesman, and I've been doing the very best that I can to move things forward. Now, people ask me, why do we need to go to Mars? Why do we even need a space program? Because by venturing into space, we improve life for everyone here on Earth. The scientific achievements that come from space-based research create products and technology that we use in our daily lives. For example, cell phones, TV, GPS, medical advances. Many of these would not have been possible without the investments in the space program. Professor Stephen Hawking recently said, and I quote, "We have made remarkable progress in the last 100 years, but if we want to continue, our future is in space." I couldn't agree more. I won't be around to see much of it, but I want to do everything that I can to lay the groundwork. And this is why I wrote my plan for the future in my book, Mission to Mars, released in 2013. There have been some improvements, refinements since then, but it's published by National Geographic. And now I have a kid's book called Welcome to Mars, published in September 2015. And this kid's book was selected as the best science STEM book by the National Science Teachers Association, 2 years in a row. And I'm very proud of this book. I'm very proud of this because it's important, because these are the ones who will be carrying out the Mars missions. We're not going to get there next week. I think we have things to get done to recover from the not really great situation we're in right now. We can't even put somebody in space up to our $100 billion space station. Now, I pride myself in thinking outside the box, leading by innovation. And in the past year, I've been involved in the creation of virtual reality content so that you can help see what it's like to stand on the surface of Mars, including a project called Destination Mars, produced by NASA, JPL, and Microsoft. And just a few weeks ago, at the South by Southwest conference, we unveiled my Cycling Pathways to Mars virtual reality experience developed by 8i on the Time Life VR application. It's a visualization of my long-term plan of a moon base and a permanent colony at Mars using cycler spacecraft and trajectories. And guess what? You lucky folks can view my VR app right here at ComicCon. So don't miss it. It's your chance to take a journey to the moon and to Mars with me. Don't forget to get your 8i video with Holo Buzz. That's the name of something. It's my mini me in augmented reality. I've been planning this space transportation system of cycling pathways, Earth orbit, Earth to moon, moon orbit than Earth to Mars since 1985. And now with the help of Purdue University and my Buzz Aldrin Institute at Florida Tech, I have a team that's helping me develop these concepts that I've been working on for 30 years. And I'm certainly an advocate for international cooperation in space. We can't do it all alone. Nobody can. We have to bring people together, and we can't be spending everything that other people can be doing while we plan and assemble things and make them work. And even though we landed on the moon 50 years ago, I believe we cannot ignore the moon now. And I feel the U.S. should help these other nations reach the moon and build a base to continue research and to discover the ice. The ice from the moon will create lunar fuel to refuel the landers that go up and down right from the beginning. And even though we've learned how to do that in the backyard with segmented time spans of this routine operation, when you explore on Mars, you're looking for something new, and it's not routine. So you can't segment things, but you can. Something like refueling on the moon, and convince yourself that if things are similar, we can refuel a lander on Mars from the Earth. Working together will make this vision a success, and it all has the goal of a permanent settlement on Mars. That means you land and you stay there. Now, people aren't going to buy that right away. It's going to take some steps of convincing the practicality, the objectives that we're setting out for us, and together how we can achieve that. I can guarantee you haven't seen anything yet. Now, I figured I needed all the help I could get. So in March of last year, I visited Stonehenge, and I sent a message out to the cosmos. I've been getting the answers back, piece by piece. Now, aside from my space efforts, I still have an adventuresome spirit. I've been up to the North Pole on a Russian nuclear icebreaker and down almost 4,000 meters, about 2 miles to the ocean floor to see the Titanic in a yellow French submarine. My favorite thing to do on this planet, however, is scuba diving. And here I am on a trip in the Galapagos Islands in 2010. My son Andy took this photo of me hitching a ride on a whale shark. Wow. Now, it's not something you kids out there ought to just jump in and do that at home or wherever you find it. So I finally made it to the South Pole last month to cap off my exploration experiences. It was a little tougher than I had expected. I knew it was not sea level. It was 9,000 feet, 6,000 feet of ice. But it was all worth it. And I got the record for the oldest person to reach the South Pole. We do these things not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And I plan to keep pushing boundaries as long as possible. So you never know where I'm going to be in the world. Now, if you're interested in learning more about my vision for Mars, you can go to my website, www.buzzaldrin.com. Humanity needs to explore or expire. We need to go beyond current limits, just like we did in 1969. Apollo was the story of people at their very best. We started with a dream, and we did the impossible. I know, we did it, but I'm living proof. Back with these naysayers. We take pictures now of the blueprints from orbit. So we know. Convinced me too. And I believe we can do it again. With a lot of help. So let's go do it again, and let's go for it. Thank you very, very much. Win things. And I didn't get into stuff unless I thought I could win. So I never put snow skis on until I was 50 years old. And a couple years later, I found myself in a competitive race going through the gates. And they had me lined up with the guy. And he was a little pudgy, and I'd seen him on commercials. His name was Shatner. And I figured, geez, he's putting on a lot of weight and I'm in great shape. So this is not going to be a problem at all. And then it dawned on me that this guy's Canadian. Skis. Well, if we put all our something into it, we're going to go broke. It has to be done with a term that I have been cultivating. I think it's called fiscal discipline. Over the years, we have begun to do some things and develop things that some of us feel the continued development may not be the best thing. We may be able to phase out a little earlier things like the ISS. Otherwise, vested interest and congressional support are going to keep it going forever. The Orion spacecraft, with all respect to Lockheed, something was needed when we retired the orbiter, and it doesn't look like that spacecraft is going to fly with a crew in it until 10 years after, when we hoped it would be ready. And the launch system called, well, it was shuttle launch system. Then it evolved into the constellation Aries 1, Aries 5.
What's the speech you have? You're always ready.
This is for July 20th, 2019. I believe that this nation should commit itself within 2 decades for America to lead international crews to occupy Mars. Now, 2 decades, that seems like a long time. That's around 2040. NASA says maybe 2030s or something. We got a lot to do between now and then, and it'll be gradual progress. And I believe that the young kids born in the year 2000 will be the people who will make the first cruise to land on Mars. And we will train them at the moon, in orbit, doing the things for a short while that they will be doing in orbit, assembling things, refueling at Mars. And then we'll send them down to the surface for a short while, so they really get to see what it's like living in a base that was designed to be the kind of base we would want to put on Mars. And if we've thought about it properly, it will be pretty close to that. And maybe the same nations will build certain parts of it for the moon and certain parts of it for Mars. There's a pecking order. There's something called seniority. I was the oldest, but that's not what I mean. Neil was in the second group, I was in the third group with Mike. But Neil was a fantastic test pilot. Now, all the missions before, when I opened the hatch and one guy went out, never the commander, because he had many things to train to do. And going to the moon, he's the one that's landing and he's the one that's lifting off. So there was a group of people who were involved in experiment works who said, well, we put too much of a workload on the commander. This ought to be done by the junior person, the co-pilot. Well, you can do both if you think about it, but we never, I mean, the symbolism and the media, who's going to get out first, what's he going to say? And it really screws things up when you're trying to reach correct decisions. Absolutely no doubt, the senior person symbolically should do the thing that is symbolic. And he did that. And then we got outside. But he's a leader and I'm a follower. It was not specified who was doing this and that. So we could have worked it out a little bit better, but that's why we do things and we debrief afterward and come up with better solutions. The way it was done was correct, absolutely. I looked at the camera that I turned on out the window and I saw Neil getting his contingency sample. And I thought, now what would it have been like if the commander had been looking out his window and I was out there doing that stuff? That would just not have worked at all. It was not right. What we did was absolutely correct, but we need discussions and debates, and sometimes the pressure of what's he going to say? What's he going to say? When he gets out there, it becomes a bit too much. It takes things out of perspective. I mean, it was intellectually a significant achievement, but it had been done before. This is what's important, the intellectual part of what it is you're doing and what you're looking at. And you're looking at something that you couldn't see anywhere on Earth, really. And that changed in millions of years. You know, that's something to realize.
He's always trying. That's why he's been all over the world. So I would say that whale shark photo, I think he's almost more proud of that than he is of walking on the moon. I'm not kidding.
Work together, and work together with organizations that represent people. We're going to be discussing that a little bit. Is it government or is it individuals who have acquired the ability to do things? There are things wrong with both extremes. The solution is in between, and I just can't imagine a worldly enterprise being carried out by organizations of people here that somehow turn over the keys to the future to one fortunate person who has been able to do fantastic things in their life. But I just don't think that those people really want it that way. I think that they want to work together, and is something that is going to have to be worked out, just like a lot of things. They're great inspiration. They fit into plans very nicely. And big companies that have been around for a long time, they fit in too. Sometimes they want it all, and they got somebody in Congress that'll help that happen, and that's called a lobbyist. And,
all right, we're out of time.
they're parts of the swamp.